Here's something that'll blow your mind. Right now, somewhere off the coast of Georgia, there's a massive nuclear bomb sitting on the ocean floor. We're talking about a 7,600-pound hydrogen bomb. That's bigger than most cars. And get this, it's 190 times more powerful than the bomb that wiped out Nagasaki in World War II. This bomb has been sitting there for over 65 years, just waiting. This sounds like a crazy movie, right? But it's 100% real. The US military has actually lost nuclear weapons. Like completely lost them. And some have never been found. Today, I'm going to tell you about these broken arrows. That's what the military calls it when something goes horribly wrong with nuclear weapons. By the end of this video, you'll know how America almost nuked its own cities by accident, why there are still missing hydrogen bombs out there somewhere, and the crazy truth about how many nuclear weapons the US has just lost. If stories like this fascinate you, and trust me, we're just getting started, hit that subscribe button. I dive deep into the most incredible true stories that governments don't want you to know about. Before we dive into the missing bombs, you need to understand the context. It's 1950. The Cold War is just beginning. The United States has around 235 nuclear weapons, while the Soviet Union has maybe 2. America needs to maintain its nuclear superiority at all costs. So they implement something called Airborne Alert. B-52 bombers armed with hydrogen bombs flying 24/7, ready to retaliate against any Soviet first strike. Picture this. At any given moment, dozens of planes carrying city-destroying weapons are circling the globe. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. The Pentagon officially acknowledges 32 broken arrow incidents between 1950 and 1980. But here's the kicker. Declassified documents obtained by journalist Eric Schlosser reveal hundreds more incidents that didn't make the official list. Now, you might be wondering, how do you lose a nuclear bomb? It's not like losing your car keys. These things are massive, some weighing over 7,000 pounds. According to unclassified Department of Defense filings, the US military had 32 broken arrow incidents between 1950 and 1980. But not every broken arrow means a weapon has gone missing. Sometimes it's a malfunction at a storage facility. Sometimes it's a fire in a silo. But in the cases we're talking about today, entire nuclear bombs simply vanished. Here's where it gets complicated. Some bombs were lost without their nuclear capsules. The plutonium core that actually causes the nuclear explosion. Think of it like losing a gun without the bullets. Still dangerous because of the conventional explosives and uranium, but not capable of creating a mushroom cloud. But others were complete weapons, ready to detonate. And they're still out there. Let me tell you about the very first time America lost a nuclear weapon. February 13th, 1950. There's this huge B-36 bomber flying from Alaska to Texas. On board, a Mark IV atomic bomb, basically the same size as the one that destroyed Nagasaki. 6 hours into the flight, everything goes wrong. 3 of the plane's engines die. Ice starts forming on the wings. This massive plane is going down over the Canadian wilderness. The crew has to make an impossible choice: try to crash land with a nuclear bomb on board, or drop the bomb and hope for the best. They decide to drop it. The crew says the bomb blew up in mid-air over the Pacific Ocean. Problem solved, right? They parachute to safety, and the empty plane flies another 200 miles before smashing into a mountain in Canada. But here's where it gets weird. In 2003, some investigators went to check out the crash site. They found the bomb shackle. That's the thing that holds the weapon in the plane. It was totally intact. If the bomb had gone down with the plane, there should have been pieces of it everywhere, but there weren't any. So where did America's first lost nuclear weapon really go? Nobody knows for sure. It might have been destroyed over the ocean like they said. Or it might still be sitting somewhere in the Canadian wilderness, waiting for someone to find it. But that's nothing compared to what happened next. February 5th, 1958. It's 2 a.m., and there's this routine training mission happening off the coast of Georgia. A B-47 bomber is carrying a 7,600-pound Mark 15 hydrogen bomb. That's the bomb from the beginning of this video. During the exercise, an F-86 fighter jet accidentally slams into the bomber. The fighter pilot ejects and lives, but the bomber is in bad shape. Fuel is leaking everywhere, and the plane is barely staying in the air. Oh, and there's still that hydrogen bomb in the bomb bay. The pilot, Colonel Howard Richardson, has to make a split-second decision. He can try to land with the bomb, but what if it breaks loose and explodes when they hit the ground? So he makes the call that will haunt the area for the next 65-plus years. He dumps the bomb into the ocean near Tybee Island, just outside Savannah, Georgia. This bomb, serial number 47,782, weighs 7,600 pounds, is 12 feet long, and has 400 pounds of regular explosives, plus a bunch of radioactive uranium inside. Now here's where the military straight up lied to everyone. For years, they said, "Don't worry, we took the nuclear part out before the flight. It's just a training dummy." Total lie. In 1966, a Defense Department official named W.J. Howard testified to Congress that the Tybee Island bomb was a complete weapon with a plutonium trigger. Later, the Air Force tried to say he was wrong, but the damage was done. This Mark 15 hydrogen bomb can create an explosion of 3.8 megatons. That's 190 times more powerful than the bomb that destroyed Nagasaki. The next day, February 6th, the Air Force launched a massive search. They brought in bomb disposal experts and 100 Navy guys with sonar equipment. For over 2 months, they dragged cables through the water, desperately looking for this missing weapon. They found all sorts of stuff. Civil War cannonballs that were still full of explosives, old shipwrecks, everything except the one thing they actually needed to find. On April 16, 1958, the military gave up. They officially declared the weapon lost. But the story doesn't end there. In 2004, this retired Air Force guy named Derek Duke got curious about the case. He took a Geiger counter out on a boat and started looking around. Duke found something crazy. Just 1 mile offshore from Tybee Island, in only 12 feet of water, he detected radiation that was 7 to 10 times higher than normal. Did he find the bomb? The Air Force investigated and said the radiation was just from natural minerals in the area. But Duke wasn't buying it, and neither are a lot of people who live on Tybee Island. You can actually buy t-shirts there that say Tybee Bomb Squad. During their annual beach bum parade in 1998, someone made a float called Save Our Tybee Bomb. with women in bikinis sitting on a fake nuclear weapon. It's become a local joke, but the reality isn't funny at all. A study in 2001 showed that if the bomb is still there, it's buried under 5 to 15 feet of sand and mud at the bottom of the ocean. And here's the thing about plutonium. It stays dangerous for 24,000 years. That bomb will still be hazardous long after our great-great-grandchildren are gone. Just 1 month after the Tybee Island incident, another training mission went completely wrong. March 11th, 1958. A B-47E bomber accidentally drops a nuclear weapon over Florence, South Carolina. The bomb's regular explosives go off when it hits the ground. Picture this. You're just living your normal life in rural South Carolina when a nuclear weapon crashes through your roof. The Mars Bluff incident destroyed the Gregg family's house and left a crater 35 feet wide and 6 feet deep. Several people got hurt from flying debris. Luckily, this bomb didn't have its nuclear part installed, so there was no mushroom cloud. But the message was clear. America was literally dropping nuclear weapons on its own people. But the most famous nuclear weapons accident in history happened on January 17, 1966. A B-52 bomber carrying 4 hydrogen bombs collides with a fuel tanker while trying to refuel in midair. This happens at 31,000 feet over the Mediterranean Sea, near a small Spanish village called Palomares. 7 airmen die in the collision, and 4 hydrogen bombs, each one powerful enough to destroy an entire city, come tumbling out of the sky toward Spain. 3 bombs land on Spanish soil. 1 stays pretty much in one piece, but the other 2, their safety systems fail. The regular explosives inside detonate on impact, turning them into dirty bombs that spray plutonium radiation all over the Spanish countryside. And the 4th bomb disappears into the Mediterranean Sea. For the next 80 days, it's like something out of a movie. 33 Navy ships and 3,000 sailors are searching the Mediterranean for this missing hydrogen bomb. A Spanish fisherman named Francisco Simo Orts becomes crucial to the search. He saw a parachute falling into the ocean, which helps them figure out where to look. Finally, a tiny submarine called Alvin spots the bomb tangled in its parachute on the ocean floor, 2,500 feet down. On April 7th, after several failed attempts, they finally pull it up, dented but still in one piece. Meanwhile, back on land, the cleanup is a nightmare. American soldiers fill over 5,000 barrels with radioactive dirt and plants. They ship it all back to the United States and pay Spanish farmers for their contaminated tomato fields. They removed about 1,400 tons of radioactive soil and vegetation from Palomares. But they didn't get it all. Even today, almost 60 years later, they're still finding radioactive material near the crash site. The US and Spanish governments are still arguing about how to finish cleaning up the mess. Okay, so here's the big question. How many nuclear weapons has America actually lost and never found? The answer is honestly terrifying. Official sources say 6 nuclear weapons have been lost and never recovered. But some experts think the real number could be as high as 9 if you count weapons that were only partly found or were found but impossible to get back. Here's what we know for sure is still out there. That Mark IV bomb from 1950, if it wasn't really destroyed over the ocean. The Tybee Island hydrogen bomb sitting in Georgia waters. A hydrogen bomb lost in the Mediterranean in 1966 that they never found. a nuclear depth charge that went down with a Navy plane in Puget Sound. A nuclear bomb that rolled off an aircraft carrier near Japan and sank. Several other weapons lost in various incidents where the official stories don't quite add up. But missing weapons are just part of the story. Some of the scariest incidents involve bombs that they did find, but almost went off anyway. In January 1961, a B-52 carrying 2 hydrogen bombs broke apart over North Carolina. One bomb's parachute opened and it landed safely, but the other one? 5 out of 6 safety switches failed when it hit the ground. Just one safety switch prevented a 20 megaton explosion that would have been 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima. In 1957, a nuclear weapon fell out of a B-36 over New Mexico and dropped 1,700 feet into a field. The regular explosives went off, killed a cow, and rattled windows in Albuquerque. People thought they were being attacked. You might think, well, this all happened decades ago. We've got our act together now, right? Kind of. After 1968, the Air Force stopped flying bombers loaded with nuclear weapons around the clock. Since then, there haven't been any known broken arrow incidents with nuclear bombs. But we're not out of the woods. In 2007, Air Force guys at Minot Air Force Base accidentally loaded 6 cruise missiles with live nuclear warheads onto a B-52. The plane flew to Louisiana with nuclear weapons on board, and nobody realized it for 36 hours. 36 hours. With live nuclear weapons just flying around. Meanwhile, those weapons that went missing decades ago are still dangerous. The Tybee Island bomb has 400 pounds of regular explosives and highly enriched uranium. Even if it doesn't have the nuclear part, and we're still not sure, those regular explosives could still blow up and spread radioactive material all over one of Georgia's most popular vacation spots. And remember, plutonium stays dangerous for 24,000 years. The bombs lost in the 1950s and 60s will still be hazardous thousands of years from now. But here's maybe the most disturbing part, what we don't know. The US government doesn't announce nuclear weapons accidents as a security measure. Some American citizens might have been exposed to radiation from plane crashes and emergency bomb dumps without ever knowing about it. The Pentagon says there were 32 official broken arrow incidents, but those secret documents show there were hundreds more. How many other close calls have there been? How many other weapons might be missing that we don't even know about? So here's what keeps nuclear experts up at night. If the US military, with all its money and safety rules, has lost multiple nuclear weapons over the years, what about other countries? What about countries that don't have as strict safety measures? What about terrorists who might want to get their hands on nuclear materials? Nuclear weapons are the most powerful destructive things humans have ever made. One bomb could wipe out an entire city and kill millions of people instantly. And somewhere out there, weapons with this power are sitting at the bottom of oceans, buried in foreign countries, or lost in places we can't even imagine. The next time you're chilling on a beach in Georgia, remember this. Just a few miles offshore, in the shallow water, one of the most powerful weapons ever created is waiting in the dark. It's been there for over 65 years, and it's not going anywhere. That's the scary truth about America's lost nuclear bombs. They're not just history. They're still out there. Silent reminders of how close we've come to nuclear disaster. and how thin the line is between safety and catastrophe. The Cold War ended, but its most dangerous leftovers are still hidden under the waves, buried in fields, and scattered in places we may never find. Until we do, the question isn't whether these weapons are dangerous. It's when and how that danger might show up. And that should keep all of us awake at night.